My dear friends, partners, brothers and sisters all over the world, together we have done so much. We have reached so far. The numbers and statistics boggle the mind. To think that a small project that we all started together only 6 years ago has now enveloped the world. We are active in 1,511 cities and 101 countries. It's remarkable. Friends, it's not easy to visualize the impact of the work we have all done together. How do we quantify the effect of a single Shabbat kept and experienced for the first time? How do we put a value on a little girl who looks around in wonder, surrounded by hundreds of dancing women as she kneads challah dough for the very first time? How do we even begin to understand what it means that her very first Jewish experience is rooted in this incredible, joyful moment of love and unity? I'm not sure. I don't know how we quantify the value of these moments. But what I am sure of is the transformative impact the Shabbat project has had on our lives. Gina and I are constantly amazed at the instinctive, spiritual and emotional bond there is between Shabbat and the Jewish people, and how deeply the idea of Jewish unity resonates in hearts and minds of Jews around the world. And the other thing I can be sure of is the sincerity and beauty of the stories that continue to pour in from you, our beloved partners all over the world. It is hard to imagine the participants in Kochav Yair, young and old, observant and not, established residents and new arrivals, who filled 24 neighborhood streets with what Shikma Kisar described as a Shabbat of reconciliation and love, a Shabbat of healing. But perhaps it's easier to imagine the 25 prison inmates who prepared and baked challah at a prison in the Sharon. Efrat Relbrook explains the difficulty of getting all the ingredients and implements needed through the security checks. She explains how they decorated the place the best they could, and finally, the overwhelming outpouring of emotion and connection as many kneaded, braided and baked challah for the very first time. Perhaps it's easier still to imagine how in Kiryat Motzkin, just north of Haifa, Shabbat brought together 20 families for a full 25-hour Shabbaton at the Tel Chai hostel. The families connecting over meals, fun activities, learning sessions, and Shabbat services, uncovering so much common ground and forging friendships for life. Perhaps it's hard to imagine the 1,100 students gathered under one tent for a Shabbat dinner at the largest Jewish event in the history of the University of Southern California. But easier still to picture the 50 BBYO teenagers who observed a fully immersive 25-hour Shabbat experience in Detroit. How do we put faces to the 1,052 people living the Shabbat experience in Santiago, Chile, with 31 apartment buildings hosting Friday night dinners and Shabbat lunches in their lobbies to help neighbors celebrate Shabbat in a warm and inclusive atmosphere? Or the thousands of participants of the 125 remarkable Shabbat project events across Sydney, Australia? Can we imagine the Jewish soldiers stationed on the coalition military base of the United States Army in northern Iraq and at camps Arif Jan and Buring in Kuwait celebrating the Shabbat project with special Shabbat meals? Or the 40 Jews gathered for a Shabbaton in Corsica, an island which according to its official register has no Jews? Friends, as we set out once more to bring Shabbat to the Jewish world on the 15th and 16th of November, let's be energized by these stories and the many thousands more that each of you can tell, big or small, broad or deep. We cannot begin to imagine or quantify their impact. May Hashem continue to bless each and every one of our efforts in bringing the magic and magnetism of Shabbat to the world. Thank you for your partnership, your friendship, and your leadership, which, with Hashem's blessings, has made all of this possible.